welcome to Yo-Yo Talk. This is our 68th episode, and we're in a new studio. Sean has been busy the last month getting this studio fixed up, so we're hoping there won't be any glitches tonight, as there have been in other episodes. There's no guest on the show tonight. I'm just handling it on my own, but I've got a lot to talk about. We, of course, will be having our trivia contest near the end of the show, and I'll be showing what you're playing for pretty soon here. And I would like to do a little shout out to Rick Rentz. We never got your prize package back from the wrong address we sent it to, so we are putting something else together for you, and you will be getting something. So never fear, we will come through for you, Rick. Next, I would like to congratulate, again, our newest inductees into the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame. If you did not see last month's episode or have not heard, then you'll be happy to learn that our three inductees are Jennifer Baybrook, Bog Maloney, and John Higbee, all very well deserving of that honor. We do have their honoree plaques in production right now as we're speaking, and of course, if they show up to the National Yo-Yo Championships this year, they will receive their National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame patch, which I believe is one of the most difficult patches to acquire if you are a patch collector. And in case you're wondering why these may not be listed yet on the National Yo-Yo Hall of Fame webpage, well, I just haven't gotten around to it. So I will blame Sean, as I do for all my errors. He is in charge of my round tuits. Shame on you, Sean. And hang your head low and get me on that. But I promise it will get done at some point in time, most likely later than sooner. And speaking of nationals, you may not be aware, but this is the 30th anniversary. Yes, in 1993, 30 years ago, they held the first modern national yo-yo championships in Chico, California. The director of the contest was our 2022 Hall of Fame inductee, Bob. And the dates for the championships this year are June 30th through July 2nd. And you may be wondering where the nationals are going to be for the 30th anniversary. Well, it will be held in the same place that it was held last year. That would be Mesa, Arizona. I already have my room reservation at the Delta Hotel there in Phoenix, Mesa, Arizona, and I hope we see a large number of Yo-Yo Talk watchers there at the championships. They do have sponsorship packages available for those that are interested in helping out our sport. I will tell you that Yo-Yo Talk, in one way or another, will be a sponsor at Nationals. We are still negotiating, I should say, with that sponsorship. But I will be there. So, and I will be there with some cameras too. So hopefully we'll see you all at Nationals. Although I don't think they have all the event materials online yet, you can book your hotel reservations. They have a special block of rooms available. And like I said, it's the Delta Hotel, same as last year. The championships will be held in the main ballroom, and it makes it all very convenient. It was very well run last year, except for the giant power outage for 2 or 3 hours, which kind of was a stick in the wheels of progress there. But now Nationals is kind of the, the build up to Nationals are the regional yo-yo contest, and we're in that season now. And I'm happy to say we're back to full contest. COVID was a big slap in the face, followed by a drop your pants and bend over. So it's good to see all these regional contests taking place again. Just to review our regional championships and their location, on April 22nd will be the Pacific Northwest Regionals. That will be in Seattle. The Midwest Regional Championships will be held in Bloomington, Minnesota, and that's April 29th. The Gulf Coast Regionals will be in Texas. That's in Houston, May 27th, and the Northeast Regionals will be held in Springfield, Massachusetts, June 4th. The National Yo-Yo League does have a Facebook page up, and it gives more information about each of these contests and links to the website, so check it out. Plus, I'm going to give an early shout out to the Michigan State Yo-Yo Championships to be held October 7th in Swartz Creek. Yo-Yo Talk is one of the sponsors for this contest, so check out their Facebook page for more information about the Michigan State Championships. That's in October. And folks, just remember when you're packing for those contests, especially for nationals where I'll be there, pack a few tradable yo-yos and let's do some trading while you're there. And speaking of trading and collecting yo-yos, Cajun Spinners has just released a new batch of yo-yos this morning on eBay. These, like the others, are 3-piece wood yo-yos with foil labels. They also have some string packs for sales as well if you are interested in collecting string packs. The Cajun Spinner yo-yos are all in the $24.95 range. I guess that's not a range, that's an exact price. The postage is $5.95. So check that out. And of course, if you're another yo-yo company and you want to put up some of your releases, we're happy to do that for you. And speaking of postage, I've got to give a little gripe here, and I think this may be a gripe that every yo-yo collector has now that the price of postage is making many of these yo-yos, if you like collecting souvenir yo-yos or advertising yo-yos, some of the low-end yo-yos, it makes them these NWPs. And when I say NWP, I mean not worth the postage. If you scan through the pages, and I did this on eBay, pretty much the minimum postage now is about $5.10. You might find a few, and if they're real expensive, they might give it to you for free, but you know, $5.10. If you're buying a $20 or $30 yo-yo, maybe that doesn't make that much difference. But if you're trying to get some of these cheap advertising yo-yos or souvenir yo-yos at $5, $10, when you put a $5 postage on top of it, it increases the final price by 50 to 100%. So, you know, you might want to consider that when you're looking at yo-yos, you know, start checking the flea markets, the antique malls out again, because you don't have to pay the postage, and that may end up being the better way to pick up some of those yo-yos. And speaking of toy shows, yes, there are still toy shows out there, and there are antique malls with yo-yos and flea markets. And I will say the tradition has been that many of these dealers have gone on and just start throwing everything on eBay. But if you start going to these shows and malls again, you'll find that there's a few yo-yos still out there. And I just went to the Central Florida Toy Show back in February, and I'll just show you a little clip from that. I will say before the clip, it was a little disappointing. This is the Central Florida.
How long is that?
About 2 minutes.
Hey, adjust your microphone a little bit, 'cause every time you move, I hear a little scratch.
Okay, well, that's what I was worried about. Fortunately, the only 3 yo-yos I found in the whole place were these 3. Now, they're arguably collectible, lowly collectible, I guess. These are Duncan yo-yos from the 70s. The price is not too bad, $15 for one, $10 for another, especially if you consider postage is so high and you don't have to pay postage. But that was it. Okay, well, Sean accidentally hit the mute button, so that's why you couldn't hear anything for a second. Sorry about that. We have to have at least one glitch per show or it wouldn't be Yo-Yo Talk. As I was looking at that video, I noticed that, I said those were Duncan. That was a Duncan Gold Award and then a Royal Monarch along with a wood floored souvenir yo-yo. That's the one with the bells on it. All pretty common yo-yos. And that Duncan Gold Award, you can usually pick that for $5 or $10 on eBay. On the card, usually, depending on which card it is, it's $15 to $35. So that was kind of right in the price range. So there's still yo-yos out there to be found if you're not doing the armchair collecting on eBay. Okay, before I go any further, let's look at what we're going to be playing for in the trivia contest near the end of the show. This is the prize package for our trivia contest near the end of the show. I call it our character prize package because these are all related to characters. This is the Pedro Flores mug. These are, as far as I know, only way you can get them is by winning them on Yo-Yo Talk or be given them at a contest or something like that. If you don't know who Pedro Flores is, then you need to watch earlier episodes of Yo-Yo Talk. He is, of course, the original Yo-Yo Man. So this first yo-yo here is Harold Wormster. That's the character in Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise. It was a movie released in 1984. This character appeared in a few of the different Nerd series films. The next yo-yo is a Star Trek yo-yo. Some people call this the Spock yo-yo because on the card, Spock is there doing his Vulcan sign. And this is from the first motion pictures, Star Trek. They called it a Star Trek Spinner. It was released in 1979. So all the Star Trek collectors have this, and a bunch of yo-yo collectors too, but I think this is a pretty cool yo-yo to have in your collection if you don't have one. And the final yo-yo is a Scooby-Doo yo-yo. It would be called a puzzler yo-yo because it has the little balls in it that make the little pinball puzzle. But the weird thing about this is people see it loose, and people have asked me, hey, Lucky, I've never seen the card on this yo-yo. Well, the reason is because the card says Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera, and it has a picture of Captain Caveman on it, not Scooby-Doo. So when you look at it from a distance, you don't realize it's actually a Scooby-Doo yo-yo. So this is a Scooby-Doo yo-yo that was released on a Captain Caveman. It looks like it's a festival mold. It was made in the 70s, a fairly rare collectible yo-yo, and certainly a highly collectible yo-yo if you're into Scooby-Doo. So that's what we have for our prize package tonight. Good luck with the trivia contest. Okay, some cool stuff there. Certainly worth living for, or at least hanging around to the end of the show to take part in the trivia contest. Sean, I believe you just posted the link up there. That's that Crowd Live link. And that'll stay up, and we'll look at everybody to sign up. Just remember, we have only 20 slots available. So go on and sign in so you make sure you get your slot. I saw a shout out to Jimmy Johnson. He just signed in there. If you're watching the show, please give us a shout out so we can see you're watching. And if you have any questions, of course, we'd love to answer those. The trivia contest will have 5 questions. That's the way we do it. And it is set up so the person that answers the quickest also gets more point score. So you want to get in there and you want to answer quick and you want to answer correctly. Answering incorrectly doesn't give you a squat. So just be prepared to answer as fast as you can. And you have, I think, well, the plan is to have about 45 seconds. So it's fine to read the question faster than I'm reading it and go on and answer. We have noticed that the positions change quite a bit, so don't get disappointed if you miss the first couple of questions because we've seen people catch up in the last 2 questions, especially if nobody gets it right and you answer it correctly. It can be a huge point advantage to you. So again, 20 slots available. Sign up. It's a lot of fun. So today I'm going to talk about some collectible yo-yos. Of course, that's my thing. I like talking about collectible yo-yos. But first, I want to show you this little clip on an important find. I doubt that anybody that's even a yo-yo collector has seen this yet, but I think it's really fascinating, and you gotta see this to know it's there because I think this is a very, very cool yo-yo. This is the most interesting yo-yo I've seen so far this year. This is a French yo-yo. It's pressed wood. It's most likely from the 1790s. It's depicting the slave trade. You may recall that France outlawed slavery in 1794. This was due to the revolt in Haiti. I think 8 or 10 years later, Napoleon reestablished slavery. A friend of mine happened to come across this in the American Revolution Museum in Yorktown. So I wrote the donor and asked him a little bit more about this yo-yo. That inscription there basically says the Negro slave trade. And this yo-yo is important because not only is it a Bandalore from the 1790s, but it also is probably the very first political yo-yo, and it does make sense from the 1790s. That was a period of time where yo-yos were used by adults. It was a plaything of adults, so it makes sense that it would be made into a political item. So very interesting yo-yo here, and happy to be able to share it. It's worthwhile to check it out at that museum if you're ever in Jamestown. Okay, so that's, I think, a very neat yo-yo. It's very seldom that we see a Bandalore that has this provenance that we can date it back to that, and being an anti-slavery political yo-yo is really amazing. So if you do get a chance to see it, please check out that museum. I know if I'm ever in Jamestown again, I will definitely go to that museum just to take a peek at that yo-yo. And what was that? I think I said in there was Flemish dancers or something like that. Anyway, I don't know what those are, but I didn't get to see the back of the yo-yos. I'm curious on what's on the back side of that yo-yo. So I was scanning through eBay today to see if I could find anything that was worthy of speaking of, and I did find a few things that I think might be interesting to the yo-yo collectors out there. And I have a little bit of commentary on some of the things. So the first thing I wanted to show you was this Gorham sterling silver yo-yo. And I've talked about Gorham yo-yos in the past on the show. And I think the Gorham yo-yo demonstrates a couple of points about collecting that I like to emphasize. The first being, just because a seller says a yo-yo is antique and rare does not necessarily make it so. And no yo-yo exemplifies this more than the Gorham yo-yo, because it's always listed as antique, as this one was. And you can see that was well over $200 they were asking for it. And it's not. It was released in 1971, and it would have to be released in 1923 to be considered an antique. It's got to be 100 years old to be an antique. So it's really only halfway there. So far, there are actually no named yo-yos, named yo-yo in the United States that are really considered antique. Even Flores yo-yos were made in 1928, so technically are not considered antique either. Bandalores, on the other hand, almost all of those are antique. So in 1928, it'll be a glorious year because Flores yo-yos will be, on that year, considered antiques. Now, I counted up today the number of silver yo-yos that were on sale on eBay, and it was over 35. And probably 75% of these yo-yos were Gorham sterling silver yo-yos. And even though this is a collectible yo-yo, and most collectors like to have one in their collection to show off, it's by no means a rare yo-yo. Matter of fact, when it comes to collecting, I would consider it a common yo-yo because nobody throws out sterling silver yo-yos or gives them away to the neighborhood kids. The only exception would be is if you're a politician and the yo-yos don't really belong to you, then you're more than happy to give them away to anybody that's willing to vote for you. But I digress. Anyway, the original Gorham yo-yo sold for $10 in 1971, and I just happened to notice that the postage was 75 cents. So circling back to my postage rant, the postage on this Gorham yo-yo, which is $10.50, which is 14 times more than 1971, yeah, you can buy this yo-yo for $35. If the price of the Gorham followed postage, they would be all selling for $140 each, and we all know if you're a patient, you can find one of these for under $50, just like that $35 Gorham. So I always tell everybody, if you're paying more than maybe $50, $55 for a Gorham yo-yo, you've probably paid too much. There's always a lot out there in the $80, $90, $100 range, but don't get caught up in the rarity or the antiqueness or anything like that. So the next yo-yo I was looking at was this novelty yo-yo, and you've probably seen this before on the show. This is the Whiz Back. The Whiz Back is a weird yo-yo. We didn't know really much about it. I thought it was from the 60s, but it turns out that there is an ad up, and you can see that ad there. There's a little beanie guy with the propeller on his top. And of course, those are two propellers like that on the side. I don't think they function really well for anything particularly. But so we know the price now was 69 cents. I wasn't sure of the price. And it turned out that this ad was in a toy magazine for dealers, I believe. But anyway, the magazine was dated 1954, and this was made in St. Petersburg, Florida, which I didn't realize that either. So those have sold for as much as $450 on eBay. I don't think they're bringing anywhere close to that now, but it is a very interesting novelty yo-yo, and I was just nice to find out a little bit of more information about it. So mid-50s, not 60s, and it was 69 cents when it was sold. Now, the next item is something that most serious yo-yo collectors are familiar with. It's the Lifesaver yo-yo set. These are Duncan-made wooden yo-yos. It was associated with a beech nut chewing gum promotion. The colors are supposed to be the Lifesaver candy that are in the Lifesaver package. And this is a complete set of all different 5 colors. And at one time, these were really hard to find. A full set was selling for $600 on eBay. And full disclosure here, I paid $250 for my set. So $90 seems like a pretty good deal to have a complete set. This was, I believe, released in the 50s. It might have been 60s. If someone can document that, please let me know. I'm always curious on the dates when these things were released. So anyway, it's one of the better advertising yo-yos to have in your collection. I think that $99 for that complete set is not a bad deal. If you try to collect them individually, you're going to end up paying a lot more. So I just, especially if you put on postage. And so I just wanted to show that to you in case there was somebody out there that kind of coveted that. I think that's a good price for that series of 5. The next 2 items I found interesting because I had never seen them before on eBay or otherwise. So maybe some of you guys have already seen these, but it was new to me. The first is this Canadian Mounties souvenir yo-yo. I've seen some different variations of that. I got a couple of those. But this particular rainbow colored yo-yo usually dates from the early 70s. I like collecting this style of souvenir yo-yos, but what I don't like is the price of $69 for it, even though it's free postage. I still think these should go for $15 to $25 range. It's a nice yo-yo. It may be worthy of that price because it may be a cross collectible. I don't know if people collect Canadian Mountie stuff and it kind of drives up the price. But anyway, for me, for these rainbow yo-yos, I like to pay in that kind of $20 range for them. The second item here is a postcard. And there's a lot of different postcards out there when it comes to yo-yos. Some of them go back to the 30s. But this is actually a newer postcard. It was dated 1980 something, 83 I believe it was. And it shows a Viking with a stone yo-yo, but it's, funny little postcard. And I was thinking about picking it up, but at $20, I'm going to give that a hard pass. But anyway, it's out there if you collect the paper memorabilia and stuff. I haven't seen this one before. Now, maybe it's just been out there and I haven't noticed it. Now, if you want to see how a collectible can be totally devalued in one heartbeat, this, of course, is the danger of any type of collecting. If there's a big find, anybody can get them, and the value is going to immediately drop. And so this is a nice string pack that might sell anywhere from the $3 to $5 range right now. It's a 1960s string pack based on the Yo-Yo Man character that's on the string pack. But this is an entire case of string packs, 900 to be exact, and even paying full price for this box at $75, that's less than 10 cents a string pack. And there are more string packs in that box there than there are collectors in the entire world. And I might add, he have 4 of these boxes for sale. So that's 3,600 string packs now on the market. So needless to say, that string pack, once somebody gets that box and breaks it up, and that makes those almost valueless as collectible. And in a way, the same thing happened with the Goody Rainbow. The older collectors will remember at one time, back in around 2000, one of those sold for over $2,000 in mint condition. And then, of course, several years ago, it's probably been 10, 15 now, there was a find of several full boxes of these rainbows, and then the price totally dropped down, and now the Goody Rainbows sell in mint condition at around the $300 range. So that's why I would never mortgage the house to buy a yo-yo, especially any that have been mass-produced, because you just never know when there's going to be a warehouse find. So this was undoubtedly some sort of warehouse find on that string pack. Cool little string pack to have, but now, totally valueless, almost untradeable.
Now, look, really quickly.
Sure.
We got John Marshall in the comment section there. You see that comment?
No, I didn't see that one.
Patent date on the Whiz Back 1952. Inventor name Scott, made by Phoenix Engineering Co., St. Petersburg, Florida. Does that give you any more information?
Interesting. I guess that 1954 was when it went on sale. The patent a lot of times will be done a few years before the yo-yo gets released. And there's a lot of patents. If you go back through patents, and I've printed and saved a lot of these yo-yo patents, a lot of them were never made. They got patented but never produced. So that one did get produced, so that does kind of make it a cool yo-yo. It is patented, but I honestly don't know I don't know that putting two propellers on the end of a yo-yo that do nothing, why that's necessarily patentable. But anyway, I guess they got it, and it is, and the rest is history. Any other questions there, Sean, before we move on?
I do not see any more questions, but I think it is time.
Okay, well, I think everybody's getting hopefully frothing at the mouth to do our trivia contest tonight. We've got 5 cool questions here. Sean has already posted the link to the trivia contest. So he's going to post it again right now. We'll give everybody a second here to sign up. I guess I've got to join too, so I can see what's going on. So the game's going to start ending, not ending, but being. Yeah, okay, what do we got? Interesting. Somebody said those string packs were just pulled from eBay. I wonder what, but do you think somebody went out, pulled or bought?
I don't know, but Rick Rentz also says, does Lucky have the Whiz Back in the box?
Yes. Yeah, I do have the Whiz Back in the box.
Okay, John, you'll have to let us know if eBay pulled it or if somebody bought it.
Because that's, because I believe it disappears off eBay as far as for sale when somebody buys it. So I just can't imagine somebody going in and buying 4 boxes at $79 a box. I don't know who they're going to sell them to. And those, by the way, those packs weren't full of, so you might think, oh, well, I'm going to get, that's maybe not a horrible price for good cotton strings, because the strings back then were just fine, except they didn't have strings in them. They were just the empty packs waiting to be packed with strings. So I don't know what the deal on that is, but I guess if anybody finds out, let us know. But seeing that many, I don't think anybody's going to be paying a lot for those particular string packs in the future. How many we got signed up for?
Looks like.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Somebody pointed out that you would be able to see it on, had been purchased now, and I guess it's not showing up there. So who knows why? Maybe they're watching the show. I said, wait a minute, I am totally, now I'm going to sell these one at a time now, but I think it's too late for that. I think the cat is out of the bag here on.
Are you logged on, Luck?
I am logged in.
Okay, we got 10 of 20.
10 of 20. Oh, we're half full. Come on, folks. Come on, let's fill it up to 20. Let's have a 20 night here. Now, look, you don't have to be a yo-yo genius or a yo-yo collector to take this trivia contest. A lot of these are just your best guess type of questions. And is the Nickinator watching the show tonight? Is he signed in? Just curious. The Nickinator.
I know the
Dictator's been threatened to come back. I think he's won so many yo-yos on Yo-Yo Talk that it's turning into a problem for him where to store them all. So if he's not here, then everybody has a good chance of winning. But he has some kind of, he sold his soul to the devil or something to be able to win these trivia contests. I'm not exactly sure how he's doing it. Oh yeah, well, also he's getting his PhD in mathematics. So it's pretty much, yeah, PhD in mathematics, selling your soul to the devil. It's pretty much the same deal. All right, where are we at now? Did we get any? Did I?
11 out of 20.
Okay, now so that big speech only got one more. Come on, let's get to 12.
I'm just gonna text the nicknator and see.
Let's get to 12. Don't text the nicknator. Let's give everybody a chance to win here. Okay, well while we're waiting to try and get one more person in the trivia contest. And again, come on, be bold. Sign up for the trivia contest. Do it. It's a lot of fun. So we're going to give you 5 questions. You're going to have about 45 seconds to answer each question, but the faster you answer the question, the more points you get. So you want to read it quick, even though I'm reading it slow. You want to read it quick and answer quickly and correctly. And don't despair if you miss the first couple of questions, because you can catch up in the last 2 questions. All right.
We got 12 out of 20 now.
All right. With 12, we're going to consider that a win here, and I think we're ready to go. Are we not, Sean?
We are. You ready?
Okay. Well, I'm ready here, and let's rock and roll. 5 seconds.
Drop your volume down.
Okay.
So it doesn't interfere with your mic.
All right.
There we go.
All right. What was the postage for the Gorham yo-yo in 1971 in the New Yorker magazine? I believe if you were watching the show, you would get this. Either 75 cents, $1, $1.75, $5, or you couldn't order them by mail. You had to buy them in the store. And, you know, that was pretty quick for 45 seconds, Sean. I think this trivia crowd purr is ripping us off. They're supposed to be giving us 45 seconds. So you guys have got to answer fast if you're going to hang in here on this. Okay, well, the correct answer was, of course, 75 cents, which you would know if you watched the show. All right, let's see how our scores did. All right, so we got 4 people that were listening very carefully to the show. I guess that John M. is John Myshral, heading up the leaderboard. Oh, he's tied with Timmy Turner. All right, so we got a dead heat here going. All right, let's roll to question number 2. What is this year's anniversary of the National Yo-Yo Championships? 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, or 50 years? Hopefully you were watching. Oh, this one seems to be going slow. Oh, okay. So it was a Sean error. It was not a crowd purr error. Okay, so this one was answered in the show. And I will say that I was there at the very first one. I won't tell you the year because that would pretty much tell you what the answer to the question is. But I'm very excited to go back to this anniversary again. And we're going to find out what that was in just 5 seconds here. And the correct answer is 30 years. This is 3 decades of the National Yo-Yo Championships, and I have to give a shout out to Bob for starting that and running it for so many years, and the great volunteers that have kept yo-yos alive during those 3 decades. It's really been amazing what they've done with the National Championships, and kudos to all those guys.
Now, Zachary, we do see your question. We'll get to it after the trivia contest is over.
Oh, okay. Who hosts the National Yo-Yo? I'll talk about that at the end. Sure. Okay, let's go. So let's see how the board is doing now with that question. That was a pretty easy one, I think. So I think everybody will score a lot more point scores there. Looks like John probably answered a little bit quicker than Timmy Turner, so he has now taken a 7-point lead, but there are several people within striking distance of that. The Simcoe still didn't. Tim, my friend, How could you miss that one? All right, Nathan Smith. I think you should know that one too. All right, here we go. Let's go to question number 3. Question number 3, here it is. What year was the Duncan glow plastic alien yo-yo released? This is a tough one. 1968, 1978, 1988, 1998, or 2008? You just got to know this one, folks. This was not in the show. That was the one that has the alien face on it. It's a streamline shaped yo-yo. It has the clear face, and it is a glow yo-yo. It is a glow yo. So if you collect glow yo-yos, if you collect streamline yo-yos, Duncan yo-yos, it's probably in your collection. But what year was that made? 5 choices there, and we will find out in 5 seconds what the correct answer is. And that would be 1998. 1998. And let's see how our point scores are going. Oh my goodness, we got, there you go. That shows how things change. We got John B. scored a big one. He is now, I assume that's John Bozung, maybe some other John B. out there, but he's now within striking distance. We've got several folks, well, just about everybody's within striking distance. All right, let's see what happens on the next question. Question number 4, still a chance for everybody to win. Who invented and patented the first Yomega yo-yo in 1982? Was it Tom Kuhn, Tom Parks, Tom Smothers, Del Oliver, or Michael Caffrey? There you go. All those are pretty famous folks. 3 Toms in there. All famous folks with the yo-yo, but who was the one who patented and invented the yo-yo in 1982? That was in Alan Amaral's basement. He, of course, ended up being the president of Yomega yo-yos. And that yo-yo was actually a yellow yo-yo if you had one of the runs of the first 10,000. All right, here we go. Let's see what the correct answer is. Michael Caffrey. And Michael Caffrey, I don't know how this worked. I'm interested in finding out. He was kind of like one of the general managers for Duncan yo-yos. And I don't know if he invented that when he was at Duncan or not, but I'm sure there's a backstory there I would like to know. But anyway, let's see how that changed our point scores. All right, we had several people get that. Ricky Rentz, I guess that must be Rick Rentz there, just moved into the lead. John Maishrall's hanging on to a real tight second. And then Timmy Turner, third. And the Simcoe has moved up into triple digits. But still, with one question to go, if you answer fast and happen to hit this, because this is, I think, kind of a difficult question, you could still end up winning it all. All right, here we go. This is our final question. This is going to determine the champion on here. Let's see it. The 1904 St. Louis World's Fair yo-yo, technically it's a Bandalore, was made from what material? Buffalo or steer horns, iron, maple wood, ivory, or celluloid plastic? That would be the one in 1904. There's only a couple of those in existence. I think somebody did actually make a reproduction of it. So I'm not sure how you would tell it from the original, to be perfectly honest. That's always disturbing when the reproductions don't identify the fact that they're reproductions. So I don't like that in yo-yos. But there was a yo-yo associated with 1904 World's Fair. And the yo-yo was made out of, the answer please, iron. Yes, that was all metal yo-yo. Kind of reminds me of the high-low yo-yo. If you've seen the high-low, that's an iron all metal yo-yo. And let's find out who our winner was. Or is. Oh, Ricky, I assume that's Rick Rent. Oh, no, wait a minute. That's third place. That threw me off. Dano is in second place. Oh, close but no cigar. And in first place, the Simcoe comes through. Oh my gosh, he was down in about 5th place. That's what I mean. You got to take it to the last question, folks, because you just don't know. So congratulations to Tim Simcoe. You got some cool stuff there. And so what was that? Let's see. What was that question? Who hosts the National Yo-Yo Championships? What entity? Well, that's the National Yo-Yo League. I'm not, well, I think kind of the directors there are Thad and then Andre Boulay I think are the kind of the big shakers and movers of at least this national championships. I'm not sure how the National Yo-Yo League works. I know they have a committee. So those guys all get together and make all the decisions. So kudos to all the hard work they put in. It's largely a thankless job. I don't think there's very much compensation for all the work that they put in for that.
Now, really quickly, John Bozon, we will get a small tutorial out for those that are having an issue logging in every time. So just keep an eye on the Facebook page and YouTube page for a small tutorial on how to jump into the trivia contest in future episodes.
All right, good. Well, I want to thank everybody for watching the show tonight, and I will be back on air May 4th. May 4th be with you. And when you hear all the Star Wars nerds saying that it's that day, please remember that that's going to be the night Yo-Yo Talk comes on at 9:30 p.m. Probably we'll have some Star Wars yo-yos to talk about on that night. Of course, it's 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And until then, just remember, you can never have too many yo-yos. This is Doc Lucky signing off until May 4th, 9:30 p.m. See you then.